In this video, you will learn everything there's been needed to know about how to deal with bad events in your life according to psychology. Specifically, the concept of learned optimism, saying that you have influence on how to deal with bad events, but also with good events in your life. And this is actually part of a series of positive psychology, the science of human flourishing. So if you want to develop yourself, but you're not sticking to all these gurus who come up with their own theories that are not rooted in a scientific method, well, then this video you will like maybe a little bit better. If you don't know me, Luke Thomas, organizational psychologist. I have a master's degree in positive organizational psychology, so I'm the person to tell you anything about it. Let's start with a question. How do you deal with bad events? Maybe you can recall a bad event. Was it really a bad event, or was it a bad response to the event? Maybe it was both, maybe it was one or the other. Well, to look more specifically in how you deal with it, we can make distinctions. The explanatory style. So this, how do you relate, how do you interpret, how do you give meaning to this event in three different ways. External or internal. External, saying that you have no influence over the event and it is all a byproduct of outside forces. And internal, being you are the owner of the problem. So ownership. The second one, is this something in the future which will remain stable or unstable? So will this event be repeated or not? And then specific or global, does this bad event says something about you as a person, that you're a bad person in general? I will never do this, I'm bad at all of these things. Or is it something which you're specifically bad at? Well, the permanence, that's if it's stable or unstable. Let's look at a bad event. So let's say you have received a poor grade on a test, and if you're optimistic about it, you say, well, this is temporary, you have control over. So it's only one test and the next time I can do better. But also with a good event, it's actually the reverse. So if you win a game, then you could say, well, no one likes me. And then you're catastrophizing it basically, leading for you also to have a bad cognitive response to yourself. Where you could also say, well, this specific person doesn't like me. It doesn't mean that other people in the future won't like me. If you get a promotion, the reverse again, well, you could say, well, I'm generally being a good employee, so I deserve this. And specifically, you say, well, I worked so hard on this, makes you feel bad. Personalization, so the last one. If it's internal or external. So if you're being laid off from your work, you can internalize it and say, this has all to do with me. Or you could say, well, the economy is bad. I do think there is some level to be said that you need to internalize it for you to take ownership, but taking too much ownership is basically just putting the blame on yourself. And for a good event, you could say, well, I really did a good job. But you could also say, yeah, I have just been lucky because the circumstances have been lenient. So it's basically your choice. Learned helplessness. So if you say it's external, stable and global, aka no influence, or learned optimism, where you say you do have influence on it, it is not permanent, and a bad event doesn't say something to you on a global level as a core of who you are. So for example, I hit puberty really early. So even though I was the tallest person in the class, later I actually just turned out to be average for Dutch size, which is still globally very high, but in the Netherlands, average. This is something which will remain stable. What I did though, is that I thought, because I'm not the tallest, this says something about the worth as a human being, how attractive I am to other people. And therefore, I became pretty sad about that. I also thought that I had no influence on being attractive to other people. Only when I knew, say, this is only something specific, which some people like. There is some studies that tallness is associated with attractiveness. It doesn't say something as the core worth of my personal being. And therefore, I looked at other ways to be attractive. Being well-spoken, well-dressed, developing yourself, developing your character, which are things which are less stable and you have influence on. And this made me also way happier, more proactive, and chasing goals, which in turn can be something which makes you happy and fulfilled. So the call to action for you, only if you apply this will you get better at it. So upcoming week, upcoming days, capture a bad event. Don't try to influence it that much. Bad events happen always, but good events also happen. So maybe you can think back, or in the future you can be conscious of it, then reflect. Did you personalize it? Did you think it was permanent? Or would pervasiveness at play? Look at the 3 responses you had on the good and the bad event. And think to yourself, is this the optimal way? Is it even rational? But that also, does it serve me? And if you did that, you know next time you will have a choice on how to respond. So you will remain proactive and you will have influence on your happiness. That will be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. The next video is about the self-determination theory. If you like this video, also look at the playlist that comes on screen. Here you see way more about positive psychology, the science of human flourishing.